Good morning, students. Welcome to Basic Biology Class Lesson 3 entitled Studying Life, Characteristics of Living Things. But before we proceed to our lesson, let's answer the word up. Okay? Arrange a jumbled letter to form the words related to the lesson. Write your answers on the blank. Now, let's proceed to our lesson. Our lesson for today is about characteristics of living things. One characteristic of living things are made up of cells. The unicellular organism, from the term uni meaning one, they are the organisms that are made up of only one cell. And multicellular organisms that are made up of more than one cells. Like this picture, we have here the first picture, amoeba. The next picture is a paramecium, which is an example of a unicellular organism. And the lower part here are examples of multicellular organisms. Another characteristics of living things, or number 2, is reproduce to produce new organisms. First, we have here the asexual reproduction involve a single parent. Progeny are genetically identical to the parent. And another one is asexual reproduction involves two parents. Progeny are genetically diverse because in sexual reproduction, some of the cells or some of the genes come from the mother and some of the genes, another half comes from the father. Next, we have number 3, common genetic code. All living organisms use the same language to pass genetic information to the offspring. So, we have here the DNA and the RNA contains the code. So, this one is the DNA, which is the double-stranded, and the single-stranded one is called the RNA. The difference between DNA and RNA, in terms of structures, DNA is double-stranded while RNA is single-stranded. The base and purines are the following: adenine in RNA, guanine, okay, another guanine represented by capital letter G. Next, cytosine, and cytosine for the RNA represented by capital letter C. And in DNA, they have thymine, which is represented by capital letter T, and it is the counterpart of RNA is the uracil, which is represented by capital letter U. The sugar of DNA is deoxyribose, while RNA is ribose. So that's why DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid and RNA stands for ribonucleic acid. So RNA's job is to make proteins, and these proteins are used by our body for our biological processes. Number 4, growth and development and aging. So all living things have growth and develop into from toddler, from human being, we develop from infant, toddler, up to teenager, okay, and then up to the point that we reach we age. So term dyan ay aging. Growth, some cells get larger and other new cells are added. And development, cells and the body parts become specialized for certain jobs. And aging, cells and the body parts become damaged and cannot be repaired. We have here an example of the life cycle of a swallowtail from the egg to larva, pupa stage, okay, adult stage. Next, we have energy and metabolism. Metabolism is a biochemical reactions that requires or acquire and use energy. Why do organisms need energy? Okay, how do organisms obtain energy? So we have here, the energy flow is connected from the ecosystem, the sun. Producers extract the energy coming from the non-living environment. For example, plants harness the sun energy or sun's solar energy, and it will be converted into food. That's why they are known as producers. Okay, and some energy loss to the ecosystem, while the consumer obtain energy and nutrients by eating the other organisms. When these consumers and producers die, they will be acted upon by decomposers, which are consumers that obtain nutrients from dead organism and organic waste. Another characteristics of living things is they obtain and use energy from the environment. Autotrophs are organisms that can make their own food from its environment. Example of these are plants. And heterotrophs are organisms that has to obtain or its energy from another organisms. Example of heterotrophs are human beings. We get food from plants as well as animals. The upper part, we have here the plants. They are known as the autotrophs, and the lower part here are examples of heterotrophs. Or another characteristics of living things is they respond to environment. It's the stimulus or anything that environment that causes reaction from an organism. And a response is an automatic reaction to a stimulus. And behavior is learned or inherited response to a stimulus. An example of this is irritability. It is an immediate response to a stimuli. We have here a picture of a Venus flytrap. When a fly touches the leaf, automatically the leaf closes. Number 7, maintain and stable internal environment. Okay, homeostasis is the ability of an organism to maintain its internal environment despite of the conditions in the external environment. Okay, human body is, if the body temperature rises, you sweat. Okay, if the body temperature lowers, you shiver. Just like this picture, when you are tense, your body gets too warm due to activities or stress. You will sweat to cool it down. Number 8, as a group, living things change over time. Organisms adapt to their environment in order to survive. And living things are very organized. Can you guess the smallest part of the living organisms? Okay, here it is so tiny that you can't see it. Okay. The various level of organization includes the following: atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, organs, organ system, the whole organism, population, communities, ecosystem, and the biosphere. In the molecular level, atoms are the smallest unit of matter that have chemical properties of a particular chemical element. And the molecules is the smallest particle of a substance that retains all the properties of the substance, and it is composed of one or more atoms. In the cellular level, the cell is the smallest unit of biological organization that biologists consider alive. All true cells are surrounded by plasma or cell membrane, carry out complex chemical reactions, and are at least potentially capable of self-reproduction. Okay, next we have the tissue level. A tissue is a group of distinct and similar cells that carry out specific sets of functions. In organ level, organs are a group of tissues organized together to carry out a particular sets of functions. Organs typically have several kinds of tissues. Organs in animals are composed of number of different tissue types. So for example, you have here the stomach. It is composed of a smooth muscle tissue, loose connective tissue. We have the nervous tissue, the blood, and the columnar epithelium. In an organ system level, multicellular organisms, especially animals, typically are organized into organ systems. There are groups of organs that function together to carry out the broad sets of functions. For instance, an organ system in the human is the digestive system. Here, some of the organs in the digestive systems are stomach, liver, small intestine, and pancreas. And in the organism level, the organism or individual, that level of biological organization that is has its own distinct existence as complex, self-reproducing unit. We are multicellular organisms that we are made of highly specialized cells which cannot exist independently of other cells in the organisms. In the population level, population is a group freely interacting and breeding individuals of the same species. Okay, for example, all bullfrogs in a pond can be considered population of bullfrogs. Typically, a population are subdivided into smaller groups. For example, a pack of wolves, pride of lions, and colony of ants. And in the community level, community is the populations of different species living and interacting together in distinct area. Okay, example of these are all the species in the pond. In the biosphere, biosphere is a region on and below and above the Earth's surface where life exists. Living things can be found well into the atmosphere and the deepest part of the ocean. And at least some areas, microbes lives in the rock several kilometers below the surface of the Earth. That ends our lesson. This time, we will answer to be or not to be living things. This will be our activity number 3, and the objective is to distinguish living things from non-living things. Our materials needed are rocks, plants, wood, hay infusion, and microscope. Since we are not in school, we are at home, I will show you how hay infusion looks like when seen under the microscope. A hay infusion is a way to enrich these organisms and our nutrient media to grow ciliates such as paramecium, which are interesting microscopy specimen. A little bit of dried grass called hay is boiled with some water, and the water will turn brownish green in color, which looks like tea. And after that, we will take a look at the hay infusion under the microscope. Here we can see small microorganisms such as paramecium. Okay, and after that, we will answer the different questions. Complete the table below by observing and identifying the characteristics of rock, plants, and photocopying machine and microorganism from hay infusion. Put a check in the column of each item that exhibit the given characteristics of living things. Characteristics of living things, we have the column rock, plant, photocopying machine, and the microscope. Ability to regulate the internal environment. Does rock has the ability to regulate their internal environment? How about plants and photocopying machine? And the last one is the microorganism. Next, we have the ability to grow and develop. Okay? Next, ability to reproduce, ability to process materials for energy, and the presence of unique chemical organization. And answer the following questions. A. Is a rock a living thing? Why? Letter B. Is a plant a living thing? Why? Letter C. Is a photocopying machine a living thing? Why? Letter D. Are microorganisms a living thing? Why? Answering the questions, we'll move on to letter B, the biological levels of organization. Here, arrange the following biological levels in their correct order, starting from the simplest to the most complex. We have the cell, organs, community, tissue, population, organ system, ecosystem, organism, and the biosphere. And number 2, answer the following questions. Are the biological level of living things useful? Why? Letter B. How does knowledge of the characteristics of living things help you differentiate living things from non-living things? Give an example. And these are the reference from today's video lesson. Thanks for watching. Bye!